Hi folks, Eric from Hit Subscribe here, and today I am doing another video in the series that we do for often clients, sometimes prospects and friends, where we explain things about Hit Subscribe and how it works, and we also answer questions about strategy and so on and so forth. In this installment, I am recording something that we quite frequently send out, and I'll often create bespoke videos for clients about, and this is our keyword research methodology. How does this work? So I'm very used to recording this. We use Airtable as our system of record, and I will generally create an Airtable base for the prospect, because this is usually done during onboarding. And I will take some example keywords that probably they've targeted or maybe that they want to target, and I will walk through what our keyword research methodology looks like, what we capture information-wise about a keyword, how we select keywords, and so on and so forth. Now today, because this is a public video for anybody who happens to be interested, I don't have an example client to work on, but not to worry, we do have a website, Make Me a Programmer, and that is this site. It serves as a community site where our authors can contribute. We do interviews and run this community site, but it also doubles as kind of a content lab. So we've run a lot of experiments on this site over the years, and it's got content on it, some of which is targeting organic search. So what I've got up here in Airtable is 4 examples of keywords that we could theoretically target from this site. And I'm going to walk through the information here that I've captured about these keywords. Now, if you're curious, where did these come from? I was recently having a conversation with an author about the idea of putting posts up for consignment on Make Me a Programmer, which is kind of a fascinating idea. So authors seem like they might be interested in publishing blog posts and then letting clients buy them and have a 301 redirect. And with this particular author, he was expressing interest in creating content about certain topics. So I did a little bit of keyword research around those topics in order to identify things that maybe we could have authors write about that would rank and potentially drive some traffic. So that's what you're looking at here. This is not part of any broad-based jobs to be done type keyword research methodology. This is just somebody saying, here are some topics that I'd be interested in writing about, and us going out and finding a few keywords that might make sense given those topics. So with those keywords as examples, let's take a look at what we do for keyword research, what Hit Subscribe's philosophy is around keyword research, and what the methodology looks like. When it comes to keyword research, there are 2 primary things that we are weighing, 2 buckets of manners of looking at the keywords, if you will. There is the quantitative aspect and the qualitative aspect, and I will talk through first the quantitative. So we capture information about each keyword. 2 things. One is the global monthly search volume. This is as reported by Keywords Everywhere that we use, and that pulls its data from Google's keyword planner, so we're trying to get as close to the source as we can. The other piece of information that we gather is the difficulty of the keyword, and this comes from Ahrefs. And without going too much into how that's calculated, and it's proprietary, so only they really know for sure, it's heavily kind of about the backlinks to the particular URLs that are ranking. And so they're really creating an estimate based on how difficult it would be given the linking profiles of the articles that are ranking. So those are the pieces of quantitative information that we gather about each individual keyword. The other thing that we factor into this whole equation here is the domain authority of the site. This is a proprietary Moz metric that essentially answers the question, how much does the search engine seem to trust your site, or maybe how good are you at SEO? And what we do is we then project where we think this site would rank if we were to target the keyword based on the difficulty of that keyword and on the domain authority of the site. And this projection is something that I put together a few years back. It is a best fit S-curve over a bunch of historical client data across different keyword difficulties and different domain authorities. And the thing I tell our clients constantly is this is not going to win me any kind of Fields medal, but in aggregate, it actually does fairly well at projecting where it's reasonable to expect to rank. And the idea with this is, 1, to help set expectations and to prioritize keywords when it comes to planning, but two, crucially, so that we can later take a look. So for instance, if we were to target the term open telemetry logging on makemeaprogrammer.com, the model expects we would rank about 5th. If we were to target that term and check back in a year and we were ranking 30th, then we might ask what's wrong. Did we spec out the post wrong in targeting this? Is there something wrong with the URL, something wrong with the site? Because we would expect it to rank higher. So it's kind of, for those of you maybe from a technical background, like a code smell. The fact that you're underperforming the model suggests that something might be wrong. It doesn't mean something is wrong. And then, on the flip side, if you're feeding back data into this and you see that you're often overperforming the model, or you're getting to a ranking faster than we would anticipate, it might mean that you're being undersold in terms of the difficulty of keywords you can target by the domain authority score, and maybe we get a little more aggressive. So that is projected rank and what it is there for. Projected traffic, we take the average click-through rate for a given position in the search results, and we calculate the percentage of click-through based on the global monthly search volume to that keyword. So what we're saying here, to summarize all this quantitative information up, we think that if we were to target on Make Me a Programmer the term open telemetry logging, we believe we would rank about 5th for that, and that keyword would drive 130 visitors per month to our site. I will say that the projected traffic is kind of a floor. It's a pessimistic projection if you rank in that position, because usually you're not ranking for just one keyword, but we are only gathering data for one keyword here. So both of these things together are really helpful for prioritizing and setting expectations when it comes to what you're targeting. And this is doubly true when clients are weighing the trade-off between going after high volume terms and maybe higher intent terms with lower volume, where you can set realistic traffic expectations given that trade-off. So that is the quantitative piece. The qualitative piece is the other half of this. So the first thing that we'll capture about a keyword as part of our keyword research and briefing process is what an SEO consultant would call search intent. I won't get too far into the weeds of this. If you're interested, you can leave a comment on the video and we can talk in more detail, create one of these about search intent. But this is basically a way to bucket different types of keywords. Generally, when we're talking about content marketing, everything is going to be research or commercial. If it is some of the other types, navigational, transactional, something is wrong. So for our purposes here, we're just kind of making sure this is the right search intent. Where we're really interested here, and this kind of speaks to the core philosophy of how Hit Subscribe approaches keyword research. Anytime somebody types something into Google, what they're really doing is they're asking a question. They're just eliminating some words from the question. So what we're saying here is when somebody is Googling open telemetry logging, they're really asking something along the lines of, how does logging work with open telemetry? And the reason that we want to capture that is the most important thing that you can do from a content marketing perspective for ranking is be very clear on the question or questions that the searcher is asking, and then create a title and subsequent supporting content that matches that question, that makes searchers feel confident that the article is going to answer their question. It also, crucially, informs the type of content that you would create in order to rank. So, as an easy example to understand, if somebody is Googling open telemetry versus Prometheus, and for comparison or versus keywords in general, usually what they're asking is something like, which of these should I pick? What is the relationship between these things? Are they mutually exclusive? Can you use them together? Those are the types of questions being asked. And so generally what you're going to do for keywords like that is create something that is more or less a comparison of those keywords as a piece of content. So the full searcher question informs the kind of content that you want to create. It also informs the last thing that we capture here as part of our briefing process, which is segmentation. And segmentation in this framework is basically, what can I infer about the sort of person that would ask this question? And this can really run the gamut. In some cases, you can't infer a whole lot. A lot of short tail keywords, whether it's spelled out, like somebody's Googling what is open telemetry, or if they're just Googling open telemetry, setting aside the navigational component of that, they might just be asking, what is open telemetry? What do you know about somebody who's wondering about that? Probably not much. It could just be, that somebody has run across. It might be a lawyer who has read about the term in a deposition and is wondering what this means, or it might be a techie, somebody that's interested in, monitoring their application and observability and anything in between. So you can have pretty loose segmentation, and in some situations, and for some campaigns, that's fine. In other situations, you might have really tight segmentation. So if somebody is Googling UML diagram Java, what they're probably asking is, how do I create UML diagrams for Java code or Java applications? And we can actually deduce a fair amount about this searcher on average. You never know, there might be outliers, but this is probably a Java programmer. And I'm saying they're disproportionately likely to work in an enterprise, because in my travels, that is generally the only place you see people creating UML diagrams. And frankly, I was kind of surprised to see this is still a thing in 2024. I remember this from my days as an undergrad programmer 175 years, or no, I guess 20 years ago. No, more than that, 25. But anyway, I'm getting a little sidetracked with that. The point is, we can actually make a much tighter inference about this particular searcher. And what this means is, if we can make this tight inference, if you're if you're selling a tool where you want to market to Java programmers in the enterprise, this segments them quite well. So you can have some extremely crisp on-page marketing tactics on this blog post that you create. So you write a blog post about UML diagramming in Java, and then at the bottom, you can have a call to action that's quite well tailored and say, hey, are you a Java programmer in the enterprise? If so, sign up for this mailing list or take this other action. So that can be actually quite powerful. The function of segmentation in the end, the reason this is important to our model here, is that we really want to make sure that not only over here under projected traffic, not only that we're getting people to the site, but that we're getting people to the site that you actually want on the site, because it can be really easy to go after high volume terms that seem promising and maybe vaguely related to what you're doing, but don't actually put the right people onto your site. So this is our methodology, the quantitative and the qualitative, all of which is ensuring that as we work with you on keyword research, we're coming up with a set of terms to go after that are going to be winnable, they're going to get people onto your site, and they're going to serve a down funnel goal that you have of some capacity. So hopefully that is somewhat illuminating for those of you thinking about working with us or wondering how our keyword research works. And if you just happened by the video, I appreciate you stopping by. I'll keep putting videos like this on the channel. If you want to subscribe, that would be great. And we will catch you next time.